So today I'm speaking with Claire Miller, and she is an author. And I'm so excited because I love books. I'm passionate about books. So I'm really excited to hear about books and just actually speak to an author. Now, Claire is near Glasgow, so there's a lovely Scottish twang in her accent, which is wonderful to listen to. So welcome, Claire, and thank you so much for being part of Stories That Inspire.
Oh, thank you very much.
So tell us a little bit about what got you started. What is your story that people need to hear?
Right, okay, well, I have up to this point been a parent for 22 years, and I stayed at home and I looked after my kids, and I still look after my kids, although they're a bit older, like 22 and 18. Although I do have to go, I managed to get that far down the line. I blinked somewhere along the line. And in 2001, I went to a 6-week evening class in writing. And I just thought, oh, I have to do this. I love doing this. And after that, I kept writing everything, all my stories in a notebook. And at that point,
what made you go to a writing class?
I've been an avid reader. I love books. I always, my best friend actually met me in school because we were called each other bookworms. And I did write a story to pass my English higher. And when I was in my teens, I wrote a story called The Ringo Bells Mystery, which is based on like the famous 5 children and a dog going on an adventure kind of thing. So I've always had writing there as somewhere in the background, something I wanted to do. So I just went, right, I'm going to go for this writing
class. Now's the time, let's do this.
Yes, that was it. Yes.
Great.
Yes.
So you did the writing course and started writing.
I did. I just poured all my ideas onto paper, and whatever came into my head in whatever way it went down, I just put it into paper. And come around to December 2002, and I now have 2 children. So I've got a baby and a 3.5-year-old, and I'm still trying to write. And my brain late at night is going like, you really got to keep writing. And it's like, I can't do that. They're going to be springing out of bed at some point, and I've also got night feeds to do. Not going to work. And as they got older, I then wrote stories which I then read to my younger daughter, which led on me to going to the local primary school, because on Friday afternoons they had something called skill sessions where the children could do lots of different activities that were outside the school curriculum. So my feet walked up to the school, because it was my feet. And I said to the school, right, I've written 4 children's stories and I read them to my daughter. That's great. Could you come in and read them? And I went, no. And I think I physically took a step backwards. It was like, no. At that time, no, I couldn't have done that. But I can work with the children to create stories. Great. Well, we'll let you know when you're coming in. And I walked out of the school and I went, right, okay. Okay. So I got home and I got a bit of paper and I drew it out and I went, you knew exactly what you were doing. And I was there for 4 years and I loved every single minute of it. I got to play with each child's imagination every time I ran a group.
That must have been such an amazing experience children have the most amazing imagination, and you, like you said, you got to play with them. You got to drag it out of them.
Well, you see, I was the biggest child in the room. It was like, anyone else might think, crikey, you worked with a group of children, and I'm going, yeah. And you know what? They were on a zebra and they went through the jungle and they got to a pyramid, and then the child jumped off the back of the zebra and met a lion and went down a tunnel and went through a magic portal, and then they just found treasure. And I was like, I love doing that. And during sort of like this period of time, my eldest daughter was ill, and that came me kind of me a jolt, and I went, if I have a dream, I have to follow it. So in 2016, I published my first book. Oh, this is my book here. It's called Pure Human City. It's a teenage book, and it's all about Kyle, who lives in the Ordnance Settlement. And I published that, and then after I'd been at the primary school, I thought, all the enjoyment I see that the children having in the primary school, what I would like to give back to children outside of the school environment.
So just one question is, you've been working with the kids in the primary school and developing their imaginations. What made you then decide to publish a book for teenagers?
Because that was a story that I had in my head at the time. The kind of like Pure Human City was being written as I was going into the primary school.
So you were playing with the kids and developing their imaginations and growing there, but yet in your world, you were having the story was developing and creating.
Yeah.
So it was quite a nice balance.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I get to live in my imagination.
Oh, that's a wonderful place to be. So then you were still at the school though, so you went back to think about how you can help the kids.
Yes, it's just because the children kept coming back, and when I went to play a game with them, because to get a character, there's a game where you draw a head in the top third of a bit of paper, then you fold it down and you move it to the left or your right, and then you draw the body and you fold that down and then left and move it to left and right, and then you draw the legs and you do a reveal. And it's just the anticipation, because I had to say to the children, not allowed to look, no, not allowed to look. And you could just see the excitement. And the minute I mentioned I was playing the game, they just came alive. I mean, they were alive anyway, but you could just like, yay. I mean, they're really excited. I just wanted to give that to children outside the school environment using the 4 stories I had. So this is my second book. It's called I Can Create Stories. And it's A4 in size, very deliberately, because in this book, the children can read a page of text, and then there's a blank page.
And they can draw or they can write. And I mean, what kid doesn't like to draw or even write and put their own ideas in?
Yeah, that's it. And the other thing is, then I thought I'll put some prompts at the back. So I've got these wee pictures here. And that means that the children can then create stories their way. Some children will draw, some will read, and some will verbalize, they'll tell a story. And then also I recorded an audiobook to go with it, just because I'm very aware, having 2 very different children. Before I had started my family, I had been going into training and stuff like that. So I was very aware of the different ways that people access information.
So for you, having such a passion for reading and writing and stories, and then having a daughter who's struggling with it and doesn't want to do it, and I'm sure there was plenty of slam doors and tantrums going on, how did you deal with that? How did you have to cope with it? Because we want to, pass on our passions, but not everybody's passionate about the same things. And you've, like you said, you've got one daughter who, yes, took to reading and just loved it. And then this other daughter who's like, nope, this is not happening. How did you deal with that as a mother?
Well, as a mother, I encouraged my elder daughter to, read, had things like Harry Potter, and that was way beyond what was coming back from school at primary 5. My younger daughter, I would make up stories with her at bedtime all about her toys, and I never wrote any down, which was a shame, but we've played with her imagination. My younger daughter likes seeing things in a different way. She doesn't do it in a linear way. She's extremely artistic, very talented, to the extent that, and I Can Create Stories, I've got a penguin as a guide for the children, because my inner child went, words are boring, I need a picture. And I went, I can do that. So this, you see, this is Serena the penguin. And I wanted a penguin. to go in the book, I Can Create Stories. And I did try and draw one. So, but you have to imagine that in my head, I have this beautiful drawing. And when I looked at what I'd drawn on paper, it didn't match anything like what I had in my head. And was out one day in the car, and my daughter said to me, "But Mum, penguins are easy to draw." And I went, "Really?" And she went, "Yeah, they're just like that." And I'm going, "Could you sort of put that in the computer?" Because this was on paper. She went, "Yes." And I went, "So could you do something with colour and give her feet and like, you know, all this kind of stuff?" So, and that's how it came about. So with my younger daughter, I played with her imagination. I just used a different way to actually access how she got in touch with stories.
So does she enjoy reading now, or is this something that she maybe rather listen to a story? Is this because she's more artistic and more was probably visual? I mean, what you know, penguins are easy to draw. Yeah, I'm with you on that one.
Yeah, it's like, really?
But this is obviously her talent. Like you said, she's very artistic. Has she learned to have a joy in reading?
She'll say she's not a reader, although interestingly, she writes. She does watch a lot of YouTube, like a lot of teenagers, and she does listen to a lot of stuff on her phone. So I don't think she would ever say she's a reader, but she does actively write.
And, you know, spending time with her and actually, you know, like you said, you created these stories with her at bedtime, is you got her imagination working. But not everybody is a reader. Not everybody enjoys reading for a variety of reasons, but it sounds like she still enjoys stories.
Oh, absolutely. She'll come to me and she'll say, "I've got this interesting plot." She takes in everything that she gets involved in, you know, looking at the screen.
So you mentioned that your daughter got ill and you realized that you needed to fulfill your dreams.
Yes.
And hence you published your first book.
Yes.
And since then you've published 2 other books.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. Yes.
But this again is now for kids.
Yes. Well, the second book is I Can Create Stories, which is this one here. If when you're a self-published author, the libraries will buy your books. So I went along with I Can Create Stories in the A4 version, and they said, "We don't want to encourage children to actually draw in library books," which is fair enough. So I went, "I have to publish another book then, won't I?" Well, there we go. And this is my book. This is I Can Create Stories Story Edition, which has all the stories from the other version, from I Can Create Stories, along with links to my website where there are free activity sheets to download, and also the audiobook goes with it too. So you still can access all the stories and the audio files, and there's a possibility that if a child's listening to it, they can actually look at the book and listen at the same time. And also it's really nice and small for going in a bag when you're going on holiday with wee kids.
Which is always a good thing. So you've now created a teenage book. You've got 2 wonderful books for kids to not just read, but actually work with in their own way. Are there any more books lurking inside of you?
Well, actually, yes, there are. I wrote a novel last year, not intentionally. It was meant to be 1,000 words, but it kind of like wrote about 75,500 words, just a smidgen, really.
Wow.
Yes, it's the longest thing I've ever written. It's amazing. I'm now in the process of editing it with the views being published this year. And I also started last year, but finished this year, a short story of, I think it ended up at 16,500 words. And that's going to be published in an anthology this year too.
So you've been busy.
Yeah. And I'm writing a story as well in my spare time.
I love this. And I'm writing a story in my spare time. But I've just written 75,000 words and 16,000 words, but you make it sound so wonderful and so easy. And I love that, because I'm an avid reader, but not a writer.
Yeah.
But I do enjoy stories and I enjoy reading. So what have you learned through this experience that you've had with, working with the kids, working with children? Like you said, you had your feet take you to the school and your mouth just went, okay, I can do this. Go home, you think, what did I just do? What happened?
Yes.
I was possessed. Somebody took over my body. But you've had an amazing experience.
Yes.
And then also, helping your kids, helping your girls to enjoy the reading and bringing out their stories and bringing out their passion for stories. What lessons have you learned along the way, and what wisdom can you share?
Well, what I've really learned is that the writing that I'd always thought was a hobby, actually, it's more than that. It's like if you can imagine in every single blood cell, there is sitting at an old-fashioned desk, and by that I mean a desk with a sloping front and the chair attached to it that they had in schools. There's a wee demon, and they're like this, and in every single blood cell, I mean, there's a wee demon writing, and I didn't know they were there. And I've done so much stuff that even though I still get scared, I go, look what you've done. And it's kind of really following my passion. And I ran my first online writing class with a child last week. Like, wow. And it was just so much fun. I've taught children in person. Kind of like I just followed a dream and just keep going. And even if I'm absolutely petrified, actually that next step over that black hole, there is a stepping stone. It's just that I don't know that it's there yet.
And like you said, it's following your passion. It's doing something that you love doing.
Yeah.
And building it into a business. And, you've published books. So you self-published. And have you done this through Amazon?
No, I've done it through another company called Indie Authors World. They do all the technical bits and I do the writing bit.
Oh, that's wonderful. So it's a way that, because so many people in the past had wanted to write books, but it's so difficult to publish. Whereas now you can start to self-publish and really get your passion out there. And you said that you've had workshops and taught kids. Would you teach adults?
Yes, I teach adults as well. I'm a member of the local writing group and we all take it in turns to sort of like run workshops. And I've run them in person and also over Zoom.
And that's the wonderful thing is writing. This is something that you can do with Zoom. So during lockdown, you could still teach or create with other people.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, what I did was I had everyone on the screen so that I could always see all the faces. And I said, right, so let's say Deborah, whatever, sort of like, you give the name of a character and what they're like. And then I'd say, okay, Jim, so can you tell me, what do you think happens next in the story? That's fantastic, right? So Karen, what do you think happens next? And I just went round everybody, and because everyone came at it from a totally different perspective, I was just like, I can't imagine the amount of fun that you can have with you just engage everyone's imagination. It's hilarious. Yeah.
So I'm getting from you that you need to just follow your passion and something that you really enjoy doing it, just do it.
Yes. Well, you see, I've had 22 years as a mum with ups and downs because you do have to do toilet training. She's a bit kind of like, really? I'm not sure about that bit either. And the jobs I had before that, there were bits I liked and the bits I disliked. And I decided that after I came out the other end, where I'm kind of like getting there, of my kids growing up, the light at the end of the tunnel was mine. It's not, it's not sort of like the light of something fearful coming towards me. It's my time, it's my life. And I want to do something that I want to just get out of bed for and jump out of bed and do.
You were able to build this and create this with your
Yeah,
kids, which is
absolutely.
wonderful, and get to experience all those kids from the primary school going, like you said, on the zebra's back and through the jungle and meeting lions and getting treasure. I mean, how precious is that and how wonderful. But it's also that you just followed your feet
Mm.
and let your feet take you where they needed to take you.
Yes, I suppose I did. At the time, I was just kind of like, yeah, I think that'd be lots of fun. And then I walked out. Then I walked out the school and went, whoa, 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 whoa. Wait a minute.
Oh, but you had committed, it was too late.
Absolutely, yeah.
But this is this is something that I often, tell my clients is sometimes you just got to follow your heart and not think about it. Sometimes you just got to just go. So your feet took you, your mouth said, yes, I'll do this. Before your brain could click in and go, hang on a minute, no, this is not what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
But you did it and you've embraced it and you enjoyed it and you've created 2 children's books out of it.
Yes.
And all the other stuff with it and the audiobooks. But also you've got the teenage book now because you just kept following your passion and following your heart. And you just decided to write a short story and it ended up with 75,000 word novel. Is this an adult novel or teenager?
It's a teenager's novel. It's called The Choice, What Would You Do?
Ooh, that sounds interesting.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's all about Joanne, and Joanne lives in a society where children up to the age of 20 have their DNA tweaked to what society needs. And then at the age of 20, they go to a graduation ceremony and they get given a coloured jacket. And Joanne has been with her grandfather, who's a botanist, who has a green jacket, and they've discovered this amazing breakthrough, which is going to change society. Everyone's going to feel the benefits. And she's up on stage and she's offered a blue jacket. And she has a choice to make because she knows once she accepts the blue jacket, which is a space pilot, and there's not many of these, this is like very valued, that she has to choose what to do. So she refuses the jacket and goes and takes a green one. And because of all of society is literally watching on screens and also the people in the hall, that's where everything starts off for her.
And it's so poetic's not the right word. I'm trying to think of the word and I can't think of the word, but we are given these choices.
Yes.
Do we do what we need to do or are told to do, hence given the blue jacket? Or do we follow our heart and our passion and go to the green jacket? Such a wonderful life lesson, such a wonderful way to realize what do we do with the choices that we're given. So you've learned to trust yourself.
Oh, absolutely. I run with my characters. They always kind of know what's coming next. And in fact, it's really interesting. In The Choice, the Joanne's dad is the first character I've ever gone, I hate you. You can't say that. No. You what? I mean, like I was going like, and I am writing it, but I'm going, I don't believe you just, I have to get on and write this. I need to know what's happening next.
And these are such wonderful lessons that listeners can learn from. Is trust yourself, trust what's happening. It might not be writing characters, but it might be having to make a decision that you need to make in your business or a choice that you want to make moving forward in your life. Is trust yourself and allow yourself to go where you need to go and not hold yourself back, because you could quite easily just say, hang on a minute, this character, I want it to be this way, and not allow it to develop on its own. But then that's you putting your input in a way and not allowing your instinct or your little, what did you call them, demon writers, to be leading the way and helping you to create something powerful, something new, something out there to help. So do you actually write or do you type?
I have paper and a pen and I write out like that. and then I somehow type it into the computer, or I get someone else to do it, or I speak it into a tablet and then send it, email it to myself. And then I work on it from that point on the computer.
So it's quite a process for you, and it's a beautiful process with actual writing it, physically writing it and not just typing it onto a computer.
Yeah.
So as I said, it's about following your heart, following your passions, listening to yourself, or just allowing yourself to take the lead. And this is wonderful, and this is something that's so powerful, is just you back in 2001, you followed your passion. I mean, you did this course when you had a young child.
Yes.
Already, and to just think this opportunity's presented itself, I'm going to go do it. I'm thinking you might have been quite tired with a young kid there already, and it would have been so easy for you to say, I'll do it another time. I'll do it next year. I'll do it, and just keep putting it off. But you just followed it. You just went, did it.
Yes.
And found ways to keep doing it in your life. And I think this is amazing. And I know so many parents almost sacrifice their own dreams for their kids, because they are bringing up their children, and they feel that they can't follow their passions. But you incorporated your passions with your kids.
Well, I couldn't stop writing. I didn't have the option. It was I just keep putting stuff in notepads. I just had to do it. There wasn't anything else I could do.
And then you've taken these and you've published.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yes.
Did you think back in 2001 that you would be a published author?
No, it never occurred to me. I just thought I would enjoy writing stories.
It's lovely. You went from not having a clue to being a published author with 2 books at some point coming out. And as you said, there's more stuff literally coming out on pen and paper as well.
Yeah.
So I look forward to seeing this and seeing what's happening. Do you think there's an adult book in there somewhere?
Well, actually, I have written an adult's book. That's sitting in written form, with some of it typed in, some of it not. That sits at 50,000 words because I checked the computer a while back. So yeah, I don't know what comes out the end of the pen. I always say I write what comes out the end of the pen. I don't intentionally write children or teens or adult. I just write where my imagination happens to have landed at that point.
But like you said earlier, you are a big child yourself,
I'm the biggest child in the room, really.
That's wonderful, and that's great. And I really appreciate that you sharing this story with me today, and letting people know, just go out there, follow your passions, just see where your pen takes you or your life takes you. Allow yourself to just go out and do what you need to do to keep that passion within you flowing. So thank you so much, Claire. I really appreciate you sharing this. And people can find your books.
My website is www.clairemillerauthor.co.uk. And if anyone's out there who's on LinkedIn, I'm on LinkedIn as Claire Miller Author, and my Facebook page is Claire Miller Author too.
Wonderful. And I mean, you've got kids and they just want to be creative. Your books sound really great. It's a great way for kids to really start, because you have shared your story today to inspire others. But kids are coming up. What's their story going to be? And it starts with being a little bit creative, drawing a little bit, reading a little bit, whatever it is that they need to do, so that they start to create their stories to inspire for future generations. So it's quite a powerful thing that you are creating.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
So thank you so much. I really appreciate you coming today. And thank you for watching. And I hope you got something from this. And I hope you find your passion and follow your passion and find and have heard something today that inspires you.